Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, September 22nd, and it is actually a PD day. Today and tomorrow, we have no students, but as teachers, we are here, we have a lot of meetings to attend, but my main focus today and tomorrow is preparing for fall conferences. So I'm gonna bring you along with me. We're gonna talk about what all is on my agenda today, what I need to get done, and then what I am doing to get ready for fall conferences. So let's jump into it. Okay, first, let's talk about today's schedule. I should not have gotten here this early this morning. I wasn't even thinking about it last night when I set my alarms. I'm such a creature of habit that I just got up at my normal time, which means I got here to school at like 5:40 a.m. and I did not need to be here this early because on PD days, technically our start time is a little bit later because when we have PDs in the afternoon, they end an hour later than our typical school day ends. So in theory, I should have slept in this morning, but it's fine. I'm gonna use it as my motivation. If I get a lot done today, then tomorrow I'll sleep in and get here at what should be the normal time for a PD day. But regardless, oh, hi voice, can we come back please? Good thing I'm not teaching today.
What a rich timbre your voice has.
So for today, I have a meeting, a staff meeting first thing, that'll be around 8 o'clock. Then each grade level is going to record a joke of the day for the morning announcement. So they've kind of clustered us at different times. So I think fourth grade, we're supposed to go at 9:10. It's only gonna take a minute or two to record the little segment. It's basically just us with our administrators and we tell our joke, they record it, and then we'll air that later on the morning announcements. So I'm using my go-to favorite joke that I learned from Billy shortly after we started dating 12 years ago, but it still makes me laugh. What did the 0 say to the 8? Nice belt. It's such a simple joke, but I remember the first time he told it to me and I thought about it and realized why it was funny, because the 8 looks like it's wearing a belt. It looks like a 0, but just with its waist sucked in. I just find it so funny. Then I will have a little bit of free time, yay. And by free time, I mean time to prepare for conferences, but we'll come back to that. Then this afternoon, we are going to different campuses for PD. So depending on the area that you teach, the grade levels / if you're a special education versus a general ed classroom teacher, you're going to different places for different PD. So we personally are going to another school and we have PD from, I wanna say it's 12:30 to 4 o'clock is our scheduled time this afternoon, which will probably be a blessing because then it will force me to just go home after and not stay late at school because I won't be here at school. So that's kind of the overview of the day. Let me show you a few things from this weekend. So Thursday, October 2nd is Custodian Appreciation Day. So as a grade level, we're putting together a basket for our custodians with a bunch of snacks and drinks and some gift cards that they can use. So one of the things I did over the weekend is go to the store and picked up some snacks. And I tried to get snacks that I thought would be a little different than what my team teachers will get. That way there can be some variety. So first, I got some Takis, and I have a couple of bags of the Fuego, and then I have some of the Blue Heat, and then there was some other new random flavor that I got as well. Then for some sweet, I got some brownie brittle, just the plain chocolate chip. For some more salty, I got these chili roasted pistachios. And then for some more sweet, some of these mini waffle cones. So I just picked up several bags of those to add to the basket. And then, as I mentioned, my team teachers were each kind of bringing in some snacks, throw in some gift cards, and then that will cover us for Custodian Appreciation Day. I opted to go to Dollar Tree because they have a lot of small individually packaged snacks. And even though you can get the bulk snack packs from grocery stores or Costco, I didn't want a bunch of leftover snacks, so I figured Dollar Tree was the way to go. While I was there, I also got some of these kind of fall and Halloween stickers, but they're so cute because they have little googly eyes on them, and I can't resist not only a sticker, but you throw a googly eye on there and I'm completely sold. So I grabbed those. Then some Amazon purchases. First, I got some stickers for my students' social studies notebooks. So if you remember, we switched from folders to notebooks, and one of the first things my students asked me was, well, are we gonna get stickers? And so I was like, okay, yes, we're gonna get stickers. Now I ordered an entire pack of all like Texas stickers where it's like the shape of Texas and it has the flag, but those are gonna take another week to come in. Then I got this pack of like random Texas stickers from Amazon. I think what I'm gonna do, whenever I get a pack of stickers like this, the first thing I do is go through them all, because there are some weird stickers in there sometimes that they're not meant for students. So I take those out. Then I'm gonna just lay them across my back table next week. Well, I guess later this week when my students come back, and I'm gonna let them each choose one. But for example, there's Hook 'em. That one will be super popular. This one just says like Texas, but it has the Texas flag. This one has like kind of a desert scene. We've got, oh yes, Willie Nelson. And it's funny because one of our communications projects that we do is like a living wax museum, and our students choose a figure from Texas history to dress up as, and they write a speech that they recite. And last year we had like 2 different students who dressed up as Willie Nelson, and it was wonderful. We've got like the Texas shape outline and an armadillo, Alamo. So I'm gonna go through these, and then probably on Wednesday I'll let my students each choose one, but I know they will be really excited about that. Then some more little prize box things. My students were absolutely obsessed with the koalas that would clip onto the end of their pencils. In fact, they're all gone. So I said, okay, I need to get something else kind of similar. These are little like monkey erasers, but they fit on the pencil. So
Do a monkey face. Do a monkey face.
I thought that those were cute. I'm gonna introduce those to my students, and honestly, I might even use them as my incentive this week. Because it is a short week, we're still gonna tell our students that we want them to get 45 minutes on iReady plus 2 lessons passed, just like a normal week. But it's not gonna be study hall if they don't get it, because they don't have Monday and Tuesday this week like they normally would. But rather than penalizing them, I'm going to incentivize them and say, hey, if by Friday you still have your minutes and your lessons, then you can choose one of these monkey erasers, and then whatever is left I will put into my prize box. Finally, I got some new trays for science. So let me show you what I was using previously. You've seen these before in my videos. They're just like your basic, almost, I call them like a cafeteria tray, and they work fine. My school has these in like our science resource room. And so it's really easy just to grab one, load it with materials, and then each group can carry a tray. However, what I did not like about them is they're kind of big, and we don't always need that much space because it'll only be like 2 or 3 little materials, and trying to like line them all out, it ends up taking up my entire counter or my entire back table. But also they're not very deep. They're kind of more on the shallow end. So I wanted to find a tray that was a little bit smaller, a little bit deeper, and then ideally color-coded. That way I could assign groups by color, because I love doing that. And so I found this pack on Amazon. It's, I think, 10 trays, maybe 12, but I'm pretty sure it's 10. Each one is a different color, and you'll notice it's just thicker, and it's a little bit of a smaller size. I feel like these are going to be perfect. Okay, now let's talk about conferences, because as I mentioned, one of my main goals today and tomorrow is to prepare for fall conferences. Technically, our conference day is Monday, October 13th, the day before my birthday, and that also will be the day that I come back from my powerlifting meet that I'm going to in Las Vegas. Now, that day, it's a staff development day, so students do not have school, and that's a day when we try to schedule as many conferences as we can. Obviously, we may not be able to meet with everyone on that day due to scheduling conflicts and whatnot, but that is the goal. So these PD days, we have meetings to attend, as I mentioned, but it's also kind of like gearing up and getting ready for those fall conferences. Now, I got a little bit of a head start because of my team teacher being out on maternity leave. I actually met with admin last week to kind of go over our plan for conferences because it's gonna look a little different than the other teachers. Since October 13th, my team teacher will not be back yet from her maternity leave, and we will have just switched subs. So the new sub will have only been in there for like 2 weeks. They're not gonna know the students. We are going to be holding our conferences later. Essentially, once my team teacher comes back the beginning of November, she'll have like 2-3 weeks to kind of get to know the kids, and then we're gonna hold our conferences the week before fall break. As a result, I don't need to worry about scheduling conferences, at least quite yet. However, I do need to prepare our conference forms so that I know who I will need to schedule a conference with, so I can communicate with those families and say, hey, here's kind of the plan. We're gonna wait and hold our conferences the week before fall break. So that being said, let me go ahead and show you the conference form that we are using as a school. So we are calling this a Falls Skill Check, and we will fill this out for every single student that we teach. From here, we will share the form with families. Now, if after filling out the form, it's like, hey, I don't have any academic concerns, I don't have any behavior concerns, we are gonna email out this form to families and say, I don't need a conference with you, but if you want to schedule one, we can. However, I do not have any concerns at this time. But as we fill out these forms, if there are students that we definitely need to have a conference with their family, we will schedule that conference, and then we will share this form with the family during the conference. Now, I know I'm gonna get asked, no, I cannot share this form with you, but I can show you just kind of the general layout as an idea. So up at the top, there is a spot for teacher name, student name, and then the date. Across the top for categories, we have needs improvement, progressing, satisfactory, and exceeds expectations. You'll notice each box has like bullet points that kind of outline what that area looks like. It's basically like your standard rubric. Then across the left side, we have different subject areas. So we have reading, writing, math, science, social studies, and then we get into more like work habits and behavior. So work ethic and grit, oral communication, interaction with peers, interaction with teacher, behavior, and there's a box at the bottom for general teacher comments. Now within math and reading, there are 2 rows. There is classwork, so kind of what we see on a day-to-day, how they perform in class, and then iReady. So we are marking how they scored on the diagnostic, whether it was in the red, which means well below grade level, yellow, which is like 1 grade level behind, green, which is on grade level, or dark green, which is above grade level. We also mark on the left side what their STAR score was from this past spring. So at the end of 3rd grade, when they took STAR, did they not meet grade level, approach grade level, meet grade level, or master grade level? And then math looks the same. So this was prepared for our school in a Google Doc. Let me go ahead and show you what I am doing to fill it out. Because it is a 1-page Google Doc, I basically took this entire page, I selected everything, so Control A, or on a Mac, it's Command A, that will select everything. I'm going to copy it, so I'm using a keyboard shortcut, but you can also right-click, choose Copy. Then down at the bottom, I would click at the very end and do Control Enter, or if you're on a Mac, Command Enter. That will do a page break. So what that does is it puts you on a new page, but even as this box expands, it's not gonna just push this down until it has to go on to a new page. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you have never used a page break before, you can also Google it. I'm sure there are better explanations, but it basically says, hey, I want this to start on a new page. Then I paste, and I made a copy of this for every single student. So each page of my Google Doc is a different student. I then would fill in their name, obviously, and I actually filled in the teacher name before like copying and pasting it. That way, that part was already done for all of my students. Now for like their reading, when I would mark their STAR score, let's say they got meets grade level, I would select the little lined text, and then I would insert a checkbox. So I would go to Insert, come down to Symbols, choose Special Characters, and then I just type in check, and I'm gonna use this little check emoji, insert it in, exit out, and then if I really wanted to, and yes, I did because I'm that person, so I would underline it, and then I even added in like a space at the beginning and a space after so that it all lined up. and it looked normal. And I would use that to copy and paste. So from here, I would select this. So I selected it, copied it, and then when I came down to math, let's say for math, they were masters, I would select this, paste it. And I went through and did all of the checks. So I would put the check for the STAR score, I'd put the check for reading diagnostics for iReady and math diagnostics for iReady. So let's say here they were on grade level. Again, I would paste that check. And then let's say down here they were also on grade level, I would paste the check. I also went through and then highlighted the boxes. So for example, with this cell, if they were on grade level, I put a check mark, but then I also want to bring their attention to it. So I would come to the fill and choose the background color to be yellow. And I did that for the other diagnostic as well. And over here, because it's not an individual box, I would just select that text and then highlight it. So I use the highlight tool up here, make it yellow, and then here, again, select that, highlight yellow. So that was the first thing, is I went through for all of my students and did that. Then I started to fill in the other boxes. So for math, I'd go, okay, how are they performing day to day? All right, they're working at grade level. I'm gonna go ahead and make that yellow. And then science and social studies are working at grade level. I'd select both of those at once, turn it yellow. And then for behavior, again, like depending on the student, it might be, oh, well, they're yellow here. They're exceeding expectations. Maybe this one is just kind of satisfactory, choose yellow. And then these ones we'll say are exceeds expectations. So I'm just using the color to kind of designate the box. And then down here, I would type in the comments. So there were some things that I kind of put for every student, things like, you know, they're such a joy to have in class. I'm so lucky to be their teacher. And then I would obviously personalize the comments. Now, this part is already done, and let's talk about that. So technically, the meeting that we have this morning is about conferences and this fall skill check. But because I got a sneak preview after meeting with admin last week, I was able to get a head start on it this weekend. So I actually already have all of that done for all of my students, with the exception of reading and writing. And that's one of the reasons I did it in advance, because when I was meeting with admin, I basically was like, look, I'm fine doing all of this to prepare for the conferences, but I don't have a lot of insight on how they're doing with reading and writing. Obviously, I would need to talk to the long-term sub who has been in since most of the school year, who knows them and has been teaching them reading and writing. The issue is technically, like, our long-term sub is not here these PD days, and then the new sub is taking over on Wednesday. So they said, okay, well, talk to the long-term sub, see if they are willing to come in next week on Monday or Tuesday, and we'll pay for them to have, you know, like paid time to be here so you two can go through the forms and fill in that information. So the long-term sub is gonna come in tomorrow afternoon so we can meet and go through the reading and writing, and then just kind of touch base on like the behavior, the work ethic, the oral communication, and the general comments. As a result, I wanted to be as efficient with our time as possible, so I took the weekend and filled out the form as much as I could on my own. So I've put in everyone's scores. I have filled in the math and below, so math, science, social studies, work ethic, and grit, oral communication, interaction with peers, interaction with teacher, behavior, and general comments for every single student. That way, when her and I meet tomorrow afternoon, I'm just gonna go through and be like, okay, reading, here's what they got on STAR, here's what they got on iReady, what do you see day to day in the classroom? Fill in that box, fill in the writing box, and then just kind of go, all right, here's what I filled in for work ethic, grit, oral communication, all that. Is that what you also see, or do we need to make some changes? And then I will read the comments and we'll see if we need to add anything in there specific to reading and writing, or just different behaviors that we've seen in one class versus another. Which means this morning, ideally, like after the meeting, when I would come back to my room and work on getting these set up, that part will already be done. I'm kind of in a holding pattern until tomorrow afternoon when her and I can meet. I do need to get with our tag teacher to get data on my tag students for math. I've already put in their star scores in iReady, but they're like day-to-day since they're in a different classroom for math and I'm not their math teacher. But otherwise, this is done until I meet with my team teacher. The next step will be emailing it out to families. Now, thankfully, last year I wrote up an email template and I saved it, so that will be super easy. I just plug in like their name and I will attach this as a PDF. Now, as you saw in the Google Doc, I have it as an ongoing Google Doc with every page as a different student. That way, when I go through it with my team teacher, I can just scroll to the next one rather than having to open up like a separate Google Doc with the form for every student. That would be way too time consuming. So when we finish, I'm gonna export the entire Google Doc as one PDF, and then I have Adobe Acrobat, I guess. But I have a function on there where I can actually take a PDF and extract each page as a separate PDF. If you don't have Adobe Acrobat, I think there are online programs that will allow you to do that as well. But I will export the PDFs, get them filled in with the student's name. So I will put the student name in the title of the PDF, and then I will be scheduling those emails to go out. Because as a staff, we're all gonna reach out to families, I think on kind of the same day. Now, my admin told us that we could either send these home in Tuesday folders or we can just attach them to the email, but we have to send an email either way. And so I'm just gonna attach it to the email because then it's less printing and less stuffing into Tuesday folders that I have to do, if that makes sense. Then I will also be sending a separate email to families that I need to schedule a conference with. But once again, I have an email template from last year, so that shouldn't be too bad. And honestly, that's something that I can get a head start on today before I meet with my team teacher. I can go ahead and have those email drafts set up so that after her and I meet and I finalize the PDFs, I can just attach them, schedule the emails, and then I should be good to go. But some other things on my list today, even though students are not here tomorrow when Tuesday folders would usually go home, we're gonna send them home on Wednesday because I have a lot of papers, but I'm gonna wait and stuff those tomorrow because I think the long-term sub is doing some last-minute grading, so I think she's gonna have some things for me to send home. So I'm gonna wait to do that. I do need to get their next unit of math workbooks labeled with their names and ready to send home because those are gonna go home on Wednesday because we will start our new unit on Thursday. I will also need to plan out math for next week. And I'm probably gonna meet with the math and science teachers on my team to kind of go over plans for next week. In my last vlog, I think I mentioned that I was meeting with one of the other math and science teachers because she wanted to see like how I kind of go about planning, and she wants to take over some of the science planning. So I made a slide template for science that her and I are gonna work through together. So we're gonna kind of plan the first week together so she can see like my thought process and where I source materials from and all that. And then after that, she'll take over. So we might meet today, but as I mentioned, I don't have a ton of time before, like in between meetings. So we're just gonna get done what we can get done. Hello again. It is now almost the afternoon. It's just before 12. I am in my car about to head to the afternoon segment of the PD. And I'm going a little early because I am that person that worries about parking. And when I know there's a bunch of teachers all going to one campus for a PD, my brain just focuses on like, but you need to make sure you secure a parking spot, even though I know it would be fine. But that's how I operate. So I'm headed out a little early. I packed lunch from home, so I already heated it up and ate it before getting into my car. I am, however, gonna stop at Quick Trip, which is like a gas station on the way, so that I can grab either a Cherry Coke Zero or like a Dr. Pepper Zero.
Listen, Stan, how long does it take you to pick out a soda?
I just need a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of something bubbly and fizzy to enjoy for the afternoon. And I feel like having some kind of a beverage just makes the afternoon and PDs in general much, much better. But looking at this morning, so we had our quick meeting to go over conferences. I took some notes on that and then put it into our team planning minutes / agenda because we're gonna meet as a team tomorrow and one of my team teachers is not here today or tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure the notes were in there for her. And then we did not end up recording the joke because our tech person that usually does it was not here, so we're gonna do that tomorrow. But otherwise, I have everything set up for my conferences as much as I can right now. I got all of the emails to go out to families drafted, and they're not scheduled, but they're drafted because I'm gonna wait, and some of them I'm gonna send them out tomorrow, like immediately after I meet with the long-term sub and we kind of finalize the fall skills check, and then some of them I'm gonna schedule to go out next week when we're kind of notifying families. And I feel good that at least the drafts are ready to go. Now, that being said, did I have time to do anything else? No, I didn't. But this is where I have to give myself grace and say, Michelle, you knew it was gonna be a limited amount of time, and just being able to get a majority of the conference stuff done and off of your plate for now is good enough. And sometimes good enough is good enough. So I'm gonna head to this PD this afternoon. I did find out what it was on because none of us had any idea. And it's on basically for our emerging bilinguals, or EBs. It's strategies to support students who are not like brand new to the language, but maybe aren't progressing to higher levels. And that's all I know as of right now. So I'll fill you in more afterward. But I'm gonna go get myself some soda for this afternoon, and then I'll check in with you after that. Cherry Coke Zero secured. PD is done. I was correct that it was on supporting EBs, or emergent bilinguals, but rather than focusing on newcomers, it was focused on long-term beginner and intermediate students. So we looked at different scaffolding strategies, developing anchor charts, providing visuals, graphic organizers, all of that. But I am now home and I'm about to walk inside. Billy is gonna be so confused. He works from home on Mondays, and obviously I never get home this early because most days I stay at school for a little bit, just because right now with my season of this school year and with everything I have going on, I'm just not able to leave right at the end of my contract hours, and that's okay. But combining the fact that our PD got out just a little bit early and then I was able to leave and come straight home, I was able to beat some traffic, and today's a rest day from the gym. So I don't have to go train, which means I'm home way earlier than I typically am, and I'm gonna treasure this time. Tomorrow, I mentioned we have another PD day. Now, I agreed to meet with my other math and science teacher in the morning, like an hour before we have our meeting. So I'm not gonna be able to sleep in too much and get there later than I was expecting because I agreed to meet with her, but it's fine. So I'm gonna meet with her so we can go over some science plans. We have a full staff, like mandatory training meeting in the morning. Then directly following that, we are gonna meet as a grade level. And then I should hopefully have some time in the afternoon to get some other things done, because y'all know the list is never ending. There's just always more to do. I will have to stuff Tuesday folders tomorrow. And then, oh yeah, meeting with my with the long-term sub to go over the conference stuff in the afternoon once she comes in. So a lot to get done, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I would love a count of how many times I've said that in my videos over the years, because I can only imagine the count is definitely up there. I think it's like a self-soothing exercise. Like, it's something I say that makes me feel better, and maybe it's just because it makes me feel more in control. I don't know. I'm sure there's someone out there who could psychoanalyze and let me know why it is that I do that. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, if there's something you want to see more of from me, please leave a comment down below. I know I don't always have the chance to respond to all the comments, just because y'all know my schedule is very hectic, but I do read them as much as possible, and I appreciate the feedback. So, as always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.